My number one rule is you can't talk about another player. So it can't be, well, my son's this, but Jimmy's over here doing that. That's when the conversation ends. You can have any conversation you want about your kid. And I get it, because these parents love their kids more than anything. It's hard to take those parent goggles off.
Coach Patrick Amico.
Yep.
Thanks for being on this.
Thank you for having me.
This is exciting. You got a lot of cool experiences, so
Thanks.
we want to kind of pull those out of you as we talk through this stuff. Take me through some successes of this last year on your team, and then also kind of what you're looking forward to for this year.
Yeah, last year we had a ton of success. Kind of a surprise. We started 1-4. We were picked towards the bottom of our region. We had just lost 2,000-point scorers in Nash Schroeder and Griffin Shepard in the same season. Nash left our school as the all-time leading scorer in Pine View history, so we've been around for quite a while. So we lost 2 amazing seniors after my first year, and we kind of thought year 2 was going to be a rebuild. And heading down the freeway after we got our butts kicked on the road up at Salem Hills, we're 1-3, and I turned to my assistants and I said, if we can get to 5 wins, you guys should win Coaches of the Year. And we finished 17-9.
Wow.
We had a chance on senior night, to win the region, and we didn't get it done. And luckily for us, we got to play that same team in the second round of the playoffs. It was a Region 9 rerun is what we call it. So, the way the RPI works, you can we played our region in the first round against Snow Canyon, and then in the second round against Crimson.
Wow.
And that's where the biggest success of the season came. We were down 17 after 3, and I remember looking at my kids because my boys had a game that afternoon at Nets on Fire, and I'm like, there's no way I can take them to their games today because I cannot hear how did you get beat again by Crimson. And as I called the boys into the huddle, I remembered last year's game in the playoffs, and we were at Ridgeline. We were down 17 going in the fourth, and we forced overtime. And I told the boys, I said, it's the same thing as last year, but you guys are tougher than last year's team. And we scored 9 points in the first 50 seconds, and it was down to 8, and we continued with the pressure, and it was a 2-point game with 4 minutes to go, and we were able to make some plays late. They were a really good team, really well-coached team, and that momentum was going. And we had it, and we were able to finish it. And then Payson got us. They did a really good job rebounding at SUU in the quarterfinals. They kicked our butts on the glass, sadly. We had two threes, both go in and out in the last 30 seconds, down by 2. And then we had to foul on the rebound, so I think we lost by 4. But for a team that was projected, I think, to win 5 or 6 games and be the pack of Region 9, to take second, to have a chance to play for a region title on the last night of the season, to go and get that revenge in the second round of the playoffs and to make it a state. It was a great year, and we had great senior leadership. Adam Moore led us. He can really shoot the ball. Lucas Papa inside him, and start forgetting guys now. It's been a year. Stratton Williams. So we had great seniors that really carried us along, and that built the foundation. I talked about that first year with Nash and Griff and 2,000-point scorers, and how I wish I had them a little longer, right? And building into this year that I thought was going to be a down year to this coming year, my 3rd year, we have a chance to be really special. Nice. We have a trio that can really lead us. We've got a freshman that's unbelievable. He's going to be a star in Utah, not just in Region 9 or 4A. He's going to be a star in Utah for a long time. I'm really jacked about this group. We're getting after it every day already, and we can't wait to get going.
That's so cool. That's such a fun recap of the season. And I know, especially with region rivalries and the state tournament and that big comeback, I watched some of that. I think it's on YouTube.
Yeah.
And I just watched that 4th quarter, and it was that momentum. You could just see it. And then sometimes when momentum happens, you just can't stop it.
Having a bad day, I'll literally just go plop it on and be like, all right, this will cheer me up.
That's awesome.
So we get after it.
What are you learning as a coach as you go into your 3rd year here?
Yeah, so much. When I was with Coach Parrish, he would always talk about you move your butt 1 seat over, and all of a sudden you thought you know it all, and it changes, right? And I just had some unbelievable mentors that I got to learn from. But I learn every day. There's so much stuff on social media and that you can learn from. And then, like I talked about, I have the greatest mentors. I was so blessed to start at Utah Valley. There's no way, I don't know of anywhere else I could have gone. You look at the staff that came from there. All 4 of those guys are assistants, 3 of them at high major levels now.
You got to tell that story. How did that come to be?
Yeah, and I talk to those guys all the time.
Yeah.
I'll say, hey, this team's going to do this. What would you look at? What would you do? And I pick their brain, and whether it's Coach Pope or down the line any of the assistants, they're always so gracious to me. And same with Coach Parrish at West Mini. Yeah. I mean, Norm's like a second dad to me. And I'll tell the story of how I lived away from my family for 8 years. But Coach and I spent every day together for 4 years and taught me way more about life and everything else, way more important than the game of basketball. So I just have the greatest people to lean on and help me out.
That's awesome. I wanted you to tell that story of how you got on the UVU staff. We were talking about it before we started recording, and I was like, I didn't know that, and that's cool.
So I moved up to St. George, and I had some kids that have played for Coach Judkins here at then Dixie State, now Utah Tech. And Coach Judkins is, as many people know, the all-time winningest coach in Utah history. I mean, he's a legend. And he kind of asked me, he's like, why don't you want to get into college coaching? You have kids. And I had kids at that point that Jonathan Lloyd, who went to Oregon, who's their all-time leading wins guy in Oregon's history. And we got a lot of high-level D1 kids when we were in Vegas. And that just kind of got my mind going, but I didn't have my degree done. So my wife's like, well, let's just get your schooling done. So I graduated from Utah Tech, again, then Dixie State. And I bought a coach's pass, which was like $500 to the Bigfoot Hoops tournament down in Vegas. And I'm just like, whatever coaches I see, I printed off 100 resumes. And this will be the first time that either coach knows this. But I had no idea who was sitting there in 2 green collared shirts. They're massive dudes taking up 3-4 rows. And I'm like, I just got to give them my resume. It doesn't matter. And it happened to be Mark Pope and Chris Burgess. And I got a call from Cody Feger, the head assistant up there, a couple weeks later. And we thought it was going to work out to where I could be a GA up there. And about 2 weeks in, we found out financially, just through new coaches and money going everywhere else and trying to build a practice facility, it wasn't going to work as a GA. But at that point, my wife and kids were home. I had 3 kids at the time. And I was like, I can't take any money from my wife. She has an unbelievable job, but I can't do that. So for my first year at UVU, I actually lived in the coach's lounge, coach's office downstairs, or coach's locker room. Coach was so gracious. He's like, you just have to be up before the janitors come in to clean and the custodians are here. So we knew they came at about 6. Coach was normally rolling in the office at that time anyway. Coach Pope is a 24/7, no nonsense. He's in at 6 a.m. He's leaving at 11 or 12 at night. Like, it's just who he is. So I'd hide my blankets in my locker in there and pillow and go shower and brush my teeth and be ready to go. And it was great because dudes wanted to get shots up early and I'd be there. And if guys want to shoot late, I'd be there. So I was always there.
That's wild. You've got a lot of experience there, Westminster, now here. What, especially as you were looking at recruiting kids and now as kids want to play on your team, what can a player do to impress you as a basketball player?
I mean, there's many ways. I love dudes with energy. Like Coach Pope would always say, bring juice to the gym, joy and juice to the gym. And my kids are probably sick of me saying that because I say it every day. I'm like, come on, we got to have someone bring some juice today. It can't just be us. It can't just be us coaches. Someone else brings some juice. Someone else brings some joy. And there's times where I'm sideways, right? And I tell them, hey, you guys need to pick me up today, right? Something happened at school, life, whatever. I need you guys to bring the joy, and I'll normally find it once I walk through that door anyway because I love being on this court. So, yeah, I want to see guys that love this game, right? If they love it, and you can see it, you can tell a kid that lives in the gym. That's what I love to recruit at Westminster. It was a little tougher, right? We only had 3 scholarships, and the rest of Division II has 10. So it makes it really hard. But, guys that will go rebound out of their area that will make plays that can guard and play multiple positions because we only have so much money.
Yeah.
So we're trying to find guys that can help us in multiple ways. And
so besides energy, how can players that are maybe coming into your program, and specifically parents as well, what should they be doing outside of formal practice to improve their games enough to not only make a team but succeed on the high school level?
Yeah, so here we're lucky. We have Nets on Fire here in town that has trainings and unbelievable coaches. So get in the gym, right? Yeah. Be in the gym, train, get better. We do a ton of stuff. I always say we have the best staff in the country for high school basketball. I'd put them up against anyone. I've got a former pro. I've got 3 former college coaches, a coach that trains 2 NBA guys right now, and then 2 guys that have coached for over 20 years in high school basketball. Because I don't know it all, right? They don't. But when we put our heads together, there's someone that's seen something before, done it, and I absolutely love it. And we do a lot of individual work. We do a lot of small group work. And we just let the kids work and try new things. And like this is from now until our season's over is like team time, right? This is where we're doing our stuff. We still really haven't gotten into plays yet. I mean, we just started, I think, last week was our first week. But once that season ends, now it's their time to go get better, right? So we're doing a ton of individual training, a ton of small group stuff, and I try not to bog them down with a ton of team this and let's run this and let's work on that. Obviously, when we have tournaments, with the Great Western or wherever, Section 7, we'll put some extra time team-wise. But most of the time, I just want them to get better and improve. And, if I can have a big that can come out and play on the wing a little bit or on the perimeter, then, that's just more versatility and opens it up that much more. And then parents, I've been super blessed here at Pineview. Everyone told me, just wait till you deal with high school parents. I've had the greatest parents. I have an open door policy. They can come talk to me whenever they want. My door is always open. And we stat every practice. Coach Pope was a big analytical guy. So I'm a big numbers guy now myself.
Yeah.
So every practice is statted. So they're more than welcome to come in, look at stats from practice, watch practice, whatever they want, and then come feel free to talk to me. My number one rule is you can't talk about another player. So it can't be, well, my son's this, but Jimmy's over here doing that. That's when the conversation ends. You can have any conversation you want about your kid. Yeah. And I get it, because these parents love their kids more than anything, right? It's hard to take those parent goggles off. So I tell them I understand that they love their kid, and again, luckily I haven't had any problems. Yeah. But we have that talk at the beginning of the year, every year. Hey, come talk to me. My door, my phone is always on. And we do a lot of team stuff together, so that helps, I think, too.
That's awesome. Take me through this staff that you're talking about, how great you are. What does that look like when we get basketball heads together, kind of nerding out when you're talking about both your team, scouting other teams, philosophies, play calling, all that? What goes into that conversation with you and your staff?
Yeah, so it's a lot of it's laid down at the beginning of the year, which we'll get to as a staff probably in the next couple of weeks. I want you on personnel. I'm going to have you on their sets. I'm going to have this coach on our sets, making sure we're running is our screen at the right angle. Because if we're running, Zoom or our pistol offense, and our screen's not at the right angle, well, of course we're not going to get our big man open, right? Or of course we're not going to come off a driving line and be able to score. So I have a coach watching all three sides, right? And then I'll have a coach on UOB, SOB, right? Out of bounds, side out of bounds, and underneath out of bounds. And I'll have a coach on special situations. Tell me what they run down 3, down 2, Are they going to foul up 3? And I want to know all those things. And then, of course, I'll go watch it because I'm a lunatic too and love film. And then I'll meet with each coach individually and kind of get a game plan. And then my head assistant, Coach Jarrett Shaw, he'll type it all out. I'll add some stuff that I see, and we get it. And our kids get, extensive scouting reports for every game. And I don't know if that's normal at high school. Our kids were pretty taken back the first year. They're like, whoa. How do you know this is what he does? How do you know he's going to in and out and go to his shot? And well, here's 10 clips of him doing the same right dribble into his shot. This is what he's going to do. But we'll get those tendencies and those things down, and we'll have it. And then if you came to a game, you'll see me, if it's the end of the quarter, and I'll look to a coach and say, hey, what are they going to run? What are we looking for right here? And we've been pretty successful with it. And some coaches have gotten mad because in college, I had to know what play was running. So play calls. And, if I hear a call, I'm like, oh, that's a weak side, like stagger off the weak side or whatever. And I'm calling it out. And I'm like, you can't call out my plays. I'm like, what? Okay. So, but no, I have fun with the film. The film it never lies, right? Yeah. And it's a lot of fun to watch and break down. And we've got a great staff that knows and understands it. So
that's an amazing level of preparation now for those kids, right? So as a coach, how do you balance the accountability, if we've gone over this with your kids, with also being a coach and a friend and a mentor and kind of the personality side of it, of being their biggest fan, while at the same time enforcing your rules and discipline and accountability?
I think a lot of it is at home. My wife is their biggest fans. They can do no wrong, right? And we do a lot of team stuff together. Every Sunday we go over. My wife will make dessert for them. We'll play no basketball. It is like some silly game to make them laugh. And then she's in sales. So we normally play on Wednesday and Friday nights. So Tuesday she'll go and find a company, and they will cater a dinner, not just for our varsity, for all 34 players and all 10 coaches. And then she'll do the same thing again on Thursday night. So we're together as a team almost every single night, and they're so close. And I actually had a call from another coach here in town. He's like, how did you get your guys so close? And I was like, what are you talking about? He goes, I see him he was at Target. They're all there together. I go to the mall. They were all there together, different days. He's like, how did you get them like that? My team's not tight like that. And I think it's just that they're always together. And that helps me, right, to be able to look, we'll go do all these fun things together. But when it's time to focus, or if you're not doing what you're supposed to do, they know I can get after them, because they know at the end of the day, Coach loves me. I'll do anything for these kids, and they know that. And I think that's huge for our culture here.
That's awesome. Do you have the conversation with your players of, hey, it looks like leading into the season you're going to be the 6th, 7th guy coming off the bench here, first or second? Or do you have a role conversation with your guys or not so much?
If I'm pulling someone for the starting lineup or putting someone in, I'll let them know. Now there's so much team ball built up, at least down here. We have a Monday night league at Nets on Fire that starts next Monday. And it's only the 7 local teams, basically. So you're going to play everybody. We don't have anyone that plays football for us this year, varsity-wise. So we'll have our whole team there. So they'll kind of figure it out. And then right before, we'll go up to the Great Western. We're going to go to Vegas for a tournament. And then there's a Nets on Fire jamboree that'll pull some teams from up north. And that's right before that 2-week dead period before tryouts. So they have a pretty good idea going into tryouts, where they stand, where they're at. We're a little bit smaller here at Pineview. I think if you even just go down the road, I think they cut a lot more kids. Last year, sophomore through senior, we didn't cut one kid. It's just a smaller group. Our numbers are down, but it's just something that we just put on the board as, bulletin board material and go battle through it.
That's awesome. Take me through tryouts. So as tryouts are coming up,
yeah,
what types of drills or games do you play in order to pull out the characteristics that you're trying to find in your players?
I think now, again, because we play so much beforehand, it's a little different. My first year when I took over, I didn't want any of the former coaches to come to the gym for the first 2 weeks. I just wanted to roll out the ball, sit up here, get to know them, and watch them play. Because the last thing I wanted was a coach that had been around that maybe, this kid can't do this. I didn't want to hear anything he can do, can't do. I wanted to make my own opinions of them. So that's what we did. But at tryouts, it's really hard. Our practices are really hard. We don't go long. I think we've only gone over 2 hours one time in my 2 years. But we go really hard. If you're not bringing the intensity, you're going to struggle, and it will show at our practice. I've had a few football players that have said, hey, I'm going to try out this year. And if they do, which I hope they do, because we need some more crossover sport guys here. But if they do, they're going to have to be super intense and ready to go from the jump, and they're going to have to be in shape because we'll run and we'll get lots of shots up, and we'll get some shell going even in tryouts. And yeah, it's going to be really intense and really hard.
What do you do from a conditioning perspective once they have made the team leading up to regular season? Yeah,
so we have a coach that will work with them conditioning-wise. We didn't go very deep last year, so I think we had 3 guys over 30 minutes a game. I mean, we did not go into a bench unless we were in foul trouble. But we condition a lot, but I like to condition with the ball. If we can get up and down and play, whether it's 5-on-0 or 5-on-5 or 5-on-5-on-5, it's just so much better. There's more effort. But my boys will tell you if things are going sideways, we might run 25 walls or some 17s. So we'll mix it up a little bit, but I'd much rather condition with the ball.
Would you say that you have a coaching style? So there are certain coaches that are run and gun or hard-nosed defense. Like, how would you describe your general coaching style?
Yeah, so I grew up in Las Vegas, and Jerry Tarkanian and the Running Rebs, that was my team. Yeah. And we like to play really fast, and it just so happened Coach Pope's the same way. I mean, we do the same thing he did at UVU that he still does at Kentucky, he did at BYU. He set a 12-second shot clock, and he wants that ball up the floor in a second and moving, right? So we do the same thing here, even though our shot clock's a little bit longer than college, 5 seconds longer. We want it to go. We want to play really fast. This year might be a little different. We have one of the better players in all of 4A in Jelani Ojegba, and with Jelani, he can play 1 through 5. He's an unbelievable passer. But when he's at the 5, it's going to be a lot of watching film. If teams are going to switch 1 through 5, perfect. We'll get a point guard to set a screen for him. First of all, not many guards come off screen, like guard a ball screen, right? Yeah. They don't know how to hedge a screen. Yeah. So, but if they do, great. We're going to go throw Jay in the post. We'll clear out the side and throw it up to him. But if they don't switch it, we can just have Jelani pull him out and go one-on-one with the 5. So we're going to manipulate the game a little bit. Again, it comes down to this coaching staff. Friday, if we played on a Friday and didn't play again until Wednesday, Friday night when I leave, there'll be notes from each coach on the desk so we can meet about our next opponent. And so we'll know, okay, we can mess with this on Monday and Tuesday before we get into the game.
It sounds like you have your general system, but the players you get will influence that too. You can't be run and gun if you don't have the athletes forward, and same thing.
You can't recruit in high school, right? So I'm not able to go recruit a run and gun team as if we would in college. But so it's a lot about who you have and what you can build that system around. But we'll still. I mean, I can't take the run and gun out of me too much. So we're still going to go play quick.
How do you handle being in the St. George community? You mentioned you have like 7 schools that are relative within 45 minutes of here, but it's a pretty tight-knit, close regions. You're playing a lot of rivalries that have been around for a long time. What is that like compared to, again, we're up in Salt Lake, and so it's a little bit more spread out and regions are shifting a lot more often?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Every coach in this league is a very good coach. You don't have a night off. You'll see teams that are 6th and 7th in our league, but they go play and go undefeated against other 4A teams. And, it's just, it's crazy. And the students here are unbelievable. No matter where you go, like our Pineview kids, we filled the gym over at Crimson. We filled the gym over at Dixie. We filled it over at Snow Canyon. I mean, these students here at Pineview, but it's just not here. Those other schools, they pack their home arenas every night. It's standing room only. And, Region 9 is a fun place to play basketball. It's jam-packed every night. And we'll have this gym here in a couple months full where there's people kind of waiting to get back in. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
How do you get your team pumped up for every game like that, where every game matters and every game can be close? Are you yelling and screaming? Is it more calm approach before games? What does that pregame look like for you?
I think it kind of matters. Dixie's kind of been the team down here for a long time. So when it was Dixie, it was probably more of a pumped up look. But most of the time it's just straight and narrow, and this is what we're going to do, and this is how we're going to do it. And our guys know they get themselves ready to go. I don't have to coach them up on how to get ready. But we have a nice board in our locker room, and we talk about our keys to the game, a couple things that we're going to change for that game. We try to switch it up a lot on what we're going to do, and we just get after it. And we have a lot of fun though.
How do you balance the creativity that is inherent with basketball and the free flow of everything within a structure of the offense that you run? So you don't have guys just going rogue and doing whatever they want, but at the same time, they aren't so locked into next plays here, that they can be a little bit creative.
So I've really worked on reads since I've been here, because so many high school coaches, like recruiting-wise, it would drive me crazy. Because and these kids are robots. You have to pass. You have to screen down. You have to do this. So we're a ton of reads. If we're in our Zoom offense, we're reading every day 3-on-3. What are you doing? Why would you back cut here? Why would you curl and then cut? Why would you go over the big and then cut? Right? Why would you come up afterwards? Why wouldn't you burn? So we'll talk about that stuff, and then you see it. And early in the year, it's a little rough. You have a little bit more turnovers because I try to let them have that freedom. Mm-hmm. But by late in the year, they start to get it, they understand it, and move forward. But it's hard when, like I said, there's so much stuff on social media, and you have guys that post the top 10 plays from the SEC this week, or the top 5 plays that BYU ran, or whatever it is, and it's like, oh, that might look good with this kid here and that kid, and let's try it. But again, I have great coaches that are like, Coach, just keep it what we do, and if they like something, they'll send something in too, and we'll try to put in a play or two each week. New out of bounds set before each game, and these kids are so smart. They're so resilient, and they figure it out, and even when they don't, they make it look like they figured it out most of the time.
How do you balance that in the day of social media? I mean, when we were coming up, I didn't have a smartphone. Facebook wasn't really a thing, and now it's all different types of social apps. So how do you coach in an environment like that where the kids have constant access to not only the good but the bad and friends and everything else going on?
It's so hard for kids these days. I don't think I realized it until I started helping out here at the high school. Because you could post a picture and someone might say you're the most beautiful person of all time, and then the next person's going to call you the ugliest or the worst person of all time, right? And it's constantly a battle with these kids, and they take it so hard. And I'm not talking about my basketball players. I'm talking about regular students. But with basketball, I think you embrace it. You understand it. At the college level, you're not going to take their phone away, right? They're adults. So I've never had to do that. We don't even really talk about it. We'll talk about like, hey, don't post anything negative about the other team. We have such good coverage here in St. George with the Fan Sports Network and Devin Dixon, where we have pregame, postgame interviews every game. We do a media day where we get to bring 4 or 5 guys and talk to them. So we talk about like, you want to be respectful to everyone in the region and your opponents. And with AAU and club, they know each other so well anyway. But it's definitely a new way of life. But I think you have to roll with it because it's not going anywhere. Yeah. Right. My big talk with them is the I. It's an iPhone. It's an iPad. It's I. Right. iPod. Everything's I. And if you can put the I to the side for we, your team, your goals, your individual goals, you're going to blow them out of the water if you'll just put the team first. So they'll hear that talk, and that kind of results back to the phones and to social media. But
this is a deep question here of like. So when I was playing in high school, my parents got divorced as a junior, right? So not just what on the court stuff, but there's off the court stuff happening with these kids of relationships, whether parents or friends or girlfriends, boyfriend, whatever. What are the systems in place for you as a coach and with the school to help kids that are going through stuff mentally? Because I feel like the mental aspect of the game today is so much different than, again, it was 20 years ago.
Yep, it's building a culture. My kids know no matter what time it is, if my phone rings, I will be there. And there's stories I could tell you of crazy times in the middle of the night where I've had to go and help somebody out, one of my players out, because something happened. And it doesn't matter, and it's between him and I. But I think if you build that culture and that trust with the boys, they know. They know. There's nothing I wouldn't do, no mountain I wouldn't go try to move to help these kids. And they figure it out. And I think as freshmen and sophomore, they're like, okay, coach is crazy. Who knows? But as they get older and then the older ones teaching them, they're like, oh, no, this dude really will do anything for us. And it's because we spend so much time together. Again, we're together a lot. We'll go down to Staley Farm, which is like the little corn maze haunted house deal. We go do that as a team here in early October. Like, we just do so much fun stuff together that they know, and they build that trust with their teammates, and it's a true family and brotherhood, and it's a lot of fun to be a part of.
That's awesome. How do you develop, or what does the youth scene look like here in St. George pre-high school? So I know Nets on Fire is here, but what is that pre-high school, and how do you build that for Pineview, the youth program?
Yeah, we're trying. It's hard. It's not like up north where you have Young Bloods and Super League and all these places to go play, because here they don't like the youth at the high schools or at the middle schools even. We don't have a middle school league. So we do it all out of Nets on Fire, and I'm just trying to build it. During basketball season, I normally don't get home till after 10, because whether it's our, 5th grade on up, I'm in the building at all times making sure, one, I want to make sure, because it's parents helping out, right? And everyone at the beginning of the season loves the dad that's going to help out and coach. And by the middle of the season, half of them are mad because their kid's not starting or playing enough, right? So I try to be here, and if I notice something or can help with the drill, I would help them out and figure out how to help that team prepare. And then, they play at Nets Monday through Saturday, because that's the only place they can play here in town for, our youth. And as long as we don't have a game, I will be there. We'll change practice around. Obviously I can't get to every single game, but I try to go down there and support those kids and sit on the end of the bench and joke around with them. That way they get to know my voice. They get to know who I am. It helps build our youth up. I talked about our young freshmen. We've got the best 8th grade team here in town. We've got one of the best 8th graders in the entire state. So that's good. Our 7th grade group's right up there, probably in the top 2 or 3 here. So we've got a chance. We're building for the next couple of years to where we're going to be a pretty good program down here for a while.
That's awesome. What about your relationship with referees? How do you approach referees in a game if you maybe don't agree with something that they're doing? We did have a referee whose brother, I think, referees down here, a referee on the podcast.
Okay.
Kelly Kinghorn, is he down here?
Yeah. Kelly's big time.
So careful.
No, I've learned a lot. Pre-UVU, I was loud, right, yelling all the time, crazy. UVU a little bit early on, and those guys gave me a hard time that ended pretty quick. And then at Westminster, I started that way, and Benjamin Kaufman was the other assistant, and he's like, hey, Coach already gets fired up. If you get fired up, he's going to get even more fired up. But then my first year, and I feel like early in the year, when I'm still trying to get after it again, right, I'm probably more loud and yelling. But I think my funny thing is when officials come by and you still mad about that call a minute ago? I'm like, what call? What are you talking about? Yeah. You were so mad 5 minutes ago. I'm like, no, I'm over it. It's gone. I'll yell at you for a second and I'm over it. But I've got a good relationship with most of the refs down here. They're great dudes. You can't pick a harder job because you don't make anybody happy. Right? The home team's mad. The visiting team's going to be mad. Every parent in the stands is going to be mad. You lose every night because everyone is so mad. And we're learning and, definitely young in this thing and trying to get better. And they were great up at State. I told them, I had 2 guys I knew, and I just said, hey, if I get too amped up, just come over and tell me shut up. Yeah. Calm me down, tell me shut up, because this game's going to go so quick because it's the tournament. And they were great. But I get over it. Even if I got a technical or got really upset about something, they'll come over and maybe, ask me how I feel about it, or even I've had one apologize later on, and I'm like, I don't care. It's done. If I was worried about 4 minutes ago, we'd lost this game by 30, so I try to get over it pretty quick.
Do you keep track of how many technicals you've had in your career?
I've had 2, one each year, hoping for none this year.
What was it like going from assistant coach to a head coach? You talked about shifting that chair, and now it's all on you. So what does that look like for you, your first game as a head coach?
Yeah, it was first game as a head coach wasn't a good one. We lost by a point, but it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. And again, I just learned from Coach Parrish and Coach Pope and the staffs that they put around. And that's why I thought it was so important to go find and hire the best staff I could. And that's what we did. And we worked really hard. I like guys, obviously in high school, I can't take Coach Pope's words, but he wants 24/7 dudes. And he wants guys that will be in the gym constantly, players and coaches. I mean, coach never turns it off. And I wanted that for high school, but I also have to remember most of these guys are either working for nothing or maybe it's like $1,500 possibly, right? So I just had to remember I can't. So my first year I felt really bad delegating anything because I'm like, this guy's just volunteering his time and I'm going to ask him to do something that I can do. I can stay up 2 hours later. I don't sleep anyway. Yeah. So it was really hard for me early on, but we got the right staff in here, and each year we've kind of grown and added a little bit. I honestly feel like we're probably too many coaches for my liking even, but the boys love it because they're like, Coach, you can't watch everything, because I actually had a meeting with our 6 seniors right before we got started. On that first day that we were eligible, we had a meeting as a team, and then I met with them about gear and stuff, and I just asked them, like, how do you guys feel about this? And they all loved it because it was, when we break off into practice, we can go 6 hoops with 6 different coaches, and there's no letdown. And in games, they can get talked to different ways. Players, jive, I guess, with coaches different ways. Some players you can yell at, some you have to put your arm around, and so I think that's huge. Our coaching staff just they're as 24/7 as it gets for high school basketball that are free. I mean, or they get that stipend of $1,500 big bucks from down here. So, but they're always asking, what can we do? What can we do? What can we do? And that's why the guys I have, I'm gonna try to keep for as long as possible.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, like the number of hours, even for the head coach, right? Your hourly rate is $1 or maybe less.
Maybe,
with all the time that you put in there. Basketball is obviously a big part of your life. What do you like outside of basketball? What do you enjoy doing that isn't basketball specific?
Yeah, so basketball is life, right? I just like to be, my kids are growing up too quick. I have an 8th grader, a 7th grader, and then a 4th grader, and then my daughter just started, all boys, and then my daughter just started 1st grade. So I like to be whatever event they're at. So I'll turn off the coaching hat and go watch them play or practice or whatever I can, and then spend some time with my wife because it's always basketball season. And, I mean, we literally went from having our first kid, Trey, my oldest, to a live period event that I was coaching, and she brought him there, and everyone freaked out. What are you doing bringing this newborn to the gym? You can't do that. And he slept through every horn, every whistle, everything. He was the greatest. And then my second one, Landon, I actually was at the hospital, went and coached because we were down in Vegas anyway, came back to the hospital, slept, had the baby, and then I left to another game. And my wife always joked we scheduled when we would have them around the live period because at the time I was coaching AAU, and that's what mattered because I needed to get those kids seen. But you can't do it without a supportive wife. Like she's big time. Yeah. And she had the 2 greatest mentors. Like I talk about my mentors, Leanne Pope and Kay Parrish are the ones that taught Jen how to run this thing because they're the backbone of the program. Leanne at UVU was amazing, and she'd have all the wives over when we were on the road, and she got them all these clothes and all this gear, and Kay would do similar things. It was a much smaller staff, but, she'd always reach out, and my wife and kids being down here, she'd always make sure they were included, and so we tried to do all those fun things that those 2 amazing women did within our staff too.
That's amazing. Yeah, I think like every coach that I've been around, the wife is so involved in the meals and the time at the house and all the things going on. Like it's like a Coach 2.0. She
gets all of our coaches' wives gear for just themselves that no one else can order. And, she's always texting them, hey, are you holding up okay? Because, you get into January, those are the dog days. We're in region. We're not home very much. If things go bad, we're not going to want to be home, right? It's going to be miserable. But yeah, she's the backbone of the program for sure.
How do you balance all of the opinions that come in? You brought up gear, right? And so it's like what gear you get and what colors and not just gear, but there's so many opinions that are coming in from your assistants, from the players themselves on what to run, what to do. How do you balance all of these opinions and feel like help them feel like they're heard, but also stay true to kind of your vision of where you want this to go?
Yeah. Well, with the gear, we do something special here. So I went at Utah Valley, Coach Pope, obviously we're a low major at the time, still a low major in the WAC. And Coach said, I want travel and gear to be like we're a high major school. So so my first year here, the guy was like, you could save probably $10,000 if you just get BSN instead of that Swish. And I'm like, I understand that, but my dudes are going to get gear. And my AD came to me and she said, why did you buy new jerseys? They just got new jerseys last year. I was like, we didn't buy new jerseys. What? Did we get billed for jerseys? She goes, no, but you spent over $20,000. What did you get? I was like, I spoiled the boys a little bit. They got a ton of Nike gear coming in. And that's one thing I'll always do. I let my seniors kind of find designs they like, steal it from a college shirt. Gonzaga had this. Can we do this, but with the Pine View stuff? So I'll always let the kids make sure they're involved because it's their story. And we have a lot of fun with gear. We'll get them a couple travel outfits, but it comes back to fundraising, and we do a good job with that. And
what does that look like here?
A lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot. We work really hard to make sure we run a tournament here in memory of one of our coaches that passed away, Coach Walker. And so we have the Coach Walker Classic. And then we also, we're doing the email and the text thing and trying to do what we can. And then when we qualified for Section 7 this year, we did a little Venmo thing where we sent it out and tried to raise so much money in an hour. So it's a lot. It's a lot. Pine View's a different spot for Southern Utah schools. These kids, these parents work their butts off. So I want to make sure that, if they're working their butts off, we're going to reward them. And gear is one of those ways we can do that.
Is that getting involved with local businesses as well for sponsorships? Like, what does that involvement look like? Or if there is a business that watches this and they want to help, what does that look like?
Yeah, we just have to run it through our athletic director, right? If there was a business out there that wanted to help, we would love all comers. But it just goes through our AD, and we have different sponsorship levels, and we can get banners or whatever it might be, announcements during the game, and basketball gets that portion of it after they have to take out a banner or whatever if there's an expense. So we'll go around to different companies, and I don't have our players do that. Those kids are doing enough and homework, and a lot of my kids have jobs. They're working to help, provide, not just for extra money for them, but to provide. So we try to get after it and get in the community with the coaches. Again, coaches' wives. Coach Jarrett Shaw, his wife's always helping as well. So it's just a good group, and we're super appreciative of the businesses that have helped us out.
You have such a unique experience with the AAU and then the college experience and now high school. So as you have players who have the goal of hopefully playing at the next level, how do you help them, or what advice do you have for them to do for themselves, but then also as a coaching staff, how do you get them out to college coaches in their name and their videos out to other people? Yeah,
so I'm lucky because I got to do it at the Division I and the Division II level. I got to meet a lot of great people. So I built up, Bobby Herdusky was our Dobo at UVU, and he was really big with Excel and save every number, save every email, save where you met them. So I did that. And, we'd go to Final Four every year. And if you haven't been to Final Four, you have to go to Final Four. It's an amazing opportunity. So it's run by NABC, National Association of Basketball Coaches. There's tons of clinics all day long just for coaches. And I'm talking, you have Kentucky's assistants sitting next to Kansas sitting next to me, right? Everybody is there. So it's a great opportunity to learn, but it's also a great opportunity to network. So I've just continued to build that up, and if I have a player, I'll be brutally honest because I don't want my reputation to be ruined that I'm trying to send somebody too high. So I'll be honest with the player and their family of where I think they are, and then I'll be honest with the coaches when they email in. I mean, we had quite the run through the Great Western to qualify for Section 7, to get to Section 7, and there were some pretty big schools that, hey, I heard about this kid and I heard about that kid. And some of them I was like, you can come watch us, but I'm just telling you he's not, in the Pac-12, or in the Big 12, whatever they're at now. So, because I don't want to waste their time. And then when I do have a kid that's ready for that level, I can call that coach up and say, hey, remember that time I said I didn't have one for you? Now I got one I think might be able to help you out. And, that's changed a ton with the portal and NIL, the amount of high school kids getting the chance to go play at that highest level. So I think Division II is a great spot obviously I got to coach there and see how it works, because getting a scholarship at the highest level of Division I is, for freshmen, it's just down. I mean, Coach Cal had a great talk on it the other day of, like, why am I going to go get a kid that's never experienced this when I can go get 4 or 5 dudes that have been through it in a Power 5 league?
Yeah.
So it's just changed a lot. But I think just honesty, just be honest with them. And you don't want to try to make the kid feel good. Oh, you're a mid-major Division I player, when really he'd be lucky to be a walk-on at a low D1, right? So because then they're upset in the end. And, hey, I thought I could make it. I thought this would work. So I think just being honest with them and being real.
Well, it seems like with the new JUCO rules around those not counting against your eligibility, like it seems like the colleges will be going
JUCO.
There, you've got experience, at least playing at a higher level.
And I think that will hurt some of the prep schools, right? The post-grad schools. And I know they passed it for 1 year. I think it's going up to the board to the coaches to put through forever. But if they at least say your first year JUCO doesn't count and you're on the bubble, maybe they want you, maybe they don't. I mean, you look at the JUCOs we have in this state and the coaches we have that are at these places. I mean, Slick with Coach Rice, obviously Andrew May and what he's done the last couple of years at Snow is unreal. And then Coach Evans at USU Eastern, like, you're talking about legends in coaching, right? Yeah. Coach Evans has been around forever. Coach May's a rising star, and Coach Rice was the head coach at UNLV and had Anthony Bennett, the number 1 pick in the draft. You know, he was at Washington after that for a little bit. So you're talking about guys that know what they're doing, and how much you could learn from that environment and playing on those teams. And then all of a sudden, instead of going to a prep school where you're going to go play a couple high school teams, a couple other schools, now you're playing, Odessa and all these other big-time JUCOs, and you're that much more ready for when that D1 calls.
Is that general advice you'd give? Because we were talking with John Judkins at Utah Tech a little bit earlier today, and his general advice, and Rylan Jones, was go where you will play
100%.
Rather than going to a bigger name school where you're going to spread the bench. Go where you will play.
At both of my stops in college, I can't tell you how frustrating it was when we had a kid, mainly at Westminster, but it happened at UVU, where they would go pick a T-shirt over playing time. Mm-hmm. We had multiple kids go and walk on at the Y or somewhere else instead of coming and playing 34 minutes a game at Westminster, because we just didn't have the scholarships, right? So we're telling the kid, hey, you will only come out if you're tired or in foul trouble. And instead he wants to go wave a T-shirt on the end of the bench. Yeah, go where you're going to play, because that ball stops bouncing. Like when you get to our age, it's not the same going to play pickup with your friends or whoever it is. It stops bouncing for real once college, or if you're good enough to play as a professional, is over. And go where you're going to play. Go play. Don't go sit. That's my biggest advice to any parent for the last 10 years. Don't go sit on the bench. Go play. Go enjoy it. And I think there's if it's not D1, they think it's like awful. Mm-hmm. I mean, Division II basketball is unbelievable. You see D2s beat D1s almost yearly, right? And that's why a lot of D1s have gotten away from that game. So, go where you're going to play.
What legacy do you want to leave here at Pineview? However long this coaching career lasts here at Pineview specifically, what do you hope to leave here?
Yeah, I hope just this culture in our school that we've built the last couple of years. These kids here are amazing young kids, these students that are at this school. And we've kind of brought that belief back. That Crimson game was huge for our school and for other sports. Like, we can do it now too. And so that culture, that winning culture, that family culture, and we want to win. Like at the end of the day, I'm a competitor. I am the biggest sore loser you will ever meet. I am the worst, right? My poor wife will know. She's like, he's not coming home tonight. He's going to go bury his head in film and be so upset. And I want to win, and we're going to win. But mainly just build these young men up. And we talk a lot about missions. We talk a lot about serving, and whether it's Army or a mission or whatever, or just go to college. Those are my kind of 3 goals for each kid, and we've been pretty successful at that these first 2 years.
What message do you have for parents who are considering sending their kid here as a coach? What can they expect from a parent turning over their son to you?
So that was my favorite part of college basketball, was getting to go into a home or talk over Zoom to a parent and asking this parent that you're just meeting for the first time ever, trust me with the person you love more than anything in the world, right? Send him across the country, across the world sometimes, and we will take care of this kid. And building that relationship with the parents and the kid was the best thing ever. That was my most favorite part. That's what I miss the most about recruiting. It was so much fun. I have friends that I still talk to, parents of players, and and players, of course, ex-players. So, your kid's going to get coached hard, right? We're going to love your kid, but they're going to get coached hard. But they're going to be better young men when they leave our program. They're going to be ready, whether it's to serve their church or their country or go get some work done in college. They're going to be ready for it because we talk about doing hard things, that they can do hard things every single day. We put our kids in practice in some tough situations, and it's like, hey, let's figure it out because we're going to be in a spot like with this where we're down 17 and we only have 8 minutes left, but we can do hard things. We can put our nose down and go to work because that's what these families that our basketball team comes from. So, yeah, that new parents coming in, I mean, that's what you're going to get. We're loud. We get after it. We have fun. We have tons of juice. We have tons of joy, and we love your kids. But there's going to be some days where they might come home and be like, man, Coach was on one today. So
that's awesome. What would you describe as the toughest part about coaching? So for any coaches that watch this or are thinking about getting into coaching at whatever level, what's the hardest part about coaching?
In high school, cutting a kid. My first year I had to do that, and that was really hard because these kids they're so innocent, right? They're so young. It's really hard. That's the worst part. It is the absolute worst. And then obviously at the end of the year, we talk about earning your tears. We earned our tears in that locker room at SUU when we lost to Payson because those kids gave it everything. There was no doubt that those boys that stepped on the floor and the ones that didn't even, they deserved to cry in that locker room. A story from Coach Parrish, I got so upset. My son got, he was crying after a game, and I was beyond mad. I'm like, are you kidding me? And Coach pulled me. He's like, and again, that's why I said Norm's like a second dad to me. And he's like, why are you mad at him? I'm like, he can't cry like a baby. What are we doing? He's like, no, that means he loves it. Like, he cares. You want someone to care. And Coach Pope used to say the earn your tears thing, and we talk about it here at Pineview, and, they definitely earn it. And that's from practice. That's from hanging out together all the time, being together all the time, and leaving that locker room at SUU with that group. That was the last time, that we were going to be in a game situation together, and they earned it. They had a heck of a year.
What's the best part about coaching that gets you through all of the long nights and through all the other things?
I could name them at each school, but I won't say names. It's the ones that are struggling, right, that have it really tough at home or in their past or whatever it is, that you can see one day walk and graduate, later on have a family. Those are the best stories by far. The wins and the losses, right, they come and go. We'll remember certain games and certain points, and we're going to remember winning a state championship one day, hopefully soon. But seeing some of these kids go on and graduate that I didn't think they would graduate, and other kids that, wanted to keep playing and didn't think they'd have a shot, and hundreds of emails later finally have a shot to go play somewhere. Those are the stories that are the absolute best. That's what keeps me going, right? That's why I walk through those doors and it just like automatically turns on. Here we go. We're going to have some juice today because I know these kids need it, and those are the best.
Last question for you. You've been so generous to sit here and let me just
awesome.
grill you about all this
This
stuff.
is awesome.
If you had some magical machine where you could go back and now it's your senior year and you are on the Pineview basketball team, with the knowledge you have now, how do you approach that senior year as a player?
Oh, man, I would have worked way harder. I would have worked way harder. I had no idea, right? I mean, we're young. We're 17, 18. We don't know. We have all these people telling us what we should do, what they would have done. But as 17, 18-year-olds, we're the smartest people there are. Like, we are as smart as it comes. We have every answer. So I would have worked a lot harder. I, hopefully would have been, more present with basketball, but just worked way harder. I have unbelievable parents that helped me every step of the way. So I was super blessed there. And I wish I could play one more high school game as a young 17, 18-year-old, because it would be a lot of fun because we don't move like we used to move.
It's so funny because my oldest daughter just started middle school.
Okay.
And so I told her, now for the rest of your life, you're going to have nightmares if you've forgotten your locker combination or you can't find your locker. And then still to this day, I have dreams where I wake up from it, but in the dream, it's the start of my senior year, and I know what I know now, and I'm like, this is going to be great. Yeah. And then I wake up, and it's all gone. So it moves fast.
It does.
And you miss the lights, you miss the referees, you miss the parents and the stands and the people yelling and screaming for you. So hopefully the kids don't take that for granted.
Yeah, don't take it for granted because it goes quick. Like I said, it's their story. I try to tell them that all the time. When it's gear, where it's scheduling, it's whatever. I don't. It's your guys' story. My story's been written. It's done. I want you guys to have the best time possible and grow as much as you can. And so, yeah, I agree.
Well, I love you taking the time to do this, and what an opportunity for the kids to have you as a coach. I mean, that's really cool the way that you approach this.
And thank you for doing this. I mean, coming all the way down here, but your other podcasts that you've done are just awesome, and I'm so excited to hear the other ones you recorded recently and this one as well. But this is going to help a lot of parents, a lot of coaches, a lot of players. I think it's an unbelievable idea, and I appreciate you driving down here to do this.